Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Miguel, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, Mike Dell, and let me just say up front, Professor Klean's views on pornography do not reflect those of Flea Market Fantasy.
That is correct. Tell the people what we're reading today, Jank.
Today we're going to be reading Plastic Man number 18 from 1977, I do believe.
Yep. Now, when I heard you pick Plastic Man, I was wondering, why did Jank pick this issue? Then I saw there's a giant robot on the cover, and I'm like, oh, he likes robots, you know? That's probably why I picked it. But then I started reading. It's all about porn.
Yeah.
It's about porn.
I was scrolling around Plastic Man issues, and I just saw the word porno, and it just happened to catch my eye. My eagle eyes were on the lookout for the word porno, apparently, and yep. I was like, this is the one.
It's very strange. A book in 1977. And, you mentioned this Professor Klean fella.
Right?
He's trying to get rid of all porn. You know? He's a very moral fella, and we'll get into his backstory when we get into the issue. So he wants to get rid of all porn. And Plastic Man, the hero, is defending porn.
Yep.
Seems like an odd situation, but all right.
To be fair, I mean, I guess you could say he's more defending people's lives and stuff more so than.
Oh, let's be real. He's defending his porn. He likes his porn, and that's why he wants to keep the porn there.
You know, he likes to pretend to be Wonder Woman's lasso and hang out on her belt. So
I was gobsmacked when I started reading this book. I was like, what the hell is this? Porn.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Anyway. That's what we're reading today, Plastic Man. And before we get into all that, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. I think we're up to 333 subscribers, so we picked up a couple more. And which, again, is shocking because no one is watching Alpha Flight. I don't know how it's this. Every week we say the same thing. We get a couple more subscribers, but no one's watching the videos. I don't know what's happening.
Maybe more people are stumbling onto that Spaceball issue months later.
Well, I think the problem is the whole tariff issue with Canada. That's why a lot of Alpha Flight fans probably are supporting it. So
that's true.
Once that gets ironed out, I'm sure they'll flock back to the Alpha Flight episode. Also, I have go ahead.
They're still angry that Mike L's not here.
Oh, that is true. We lost the Canadian
audience.
Filthy American took a Canadian job. But if we get to 500, Jank's going to make me read The Dark Knight every week for a month. So, yes, that'd be a good thing. I don't know.
It will. I'll be excited.
Also have a book out there about a chimp detective called Monkey Flip. And I'm still debating what to do about I might just name all the books Monkey Flip, Monkey Flipped, Monkey Flipping. I might just do because I have trouble coming up with more monkey puns. All right, so Plastic Man, issue 18. Good old Plastic Man's real name is Patrick Eel O'Brien, and his first appearance was Police Comics, issue 1, 1941, published by Quality Comics, and created by a fellow named Jack Cole. Quality Comics shut down in 1956.
Guess they weren't that quality after.
And then DC acquired the character and started publishing him in 1966.
Yeah, that was DC's thing. Just let's buy up everybody that's going out and get all their heroes, and eventually, I'm sure it'll pay off.
So the character, though, Plastic Man, he was orphaned at the age of 10, and he was forced to live on the streets, and he turned to crime. Same thing happened to you, right?
That's right.
He became a safe cracker for a burglary ring, and the group was attempting a late-night heist at Crawford Chemical Works.
Uh-oh. Know where this is going.
Yeah.
Every heist at a chemical factory never goes well.
So the Joker just ripped off. Well, the Joker was probably before. When did the Joker come into play?
Man invented?
41. So Joker is before that, right?
Definitely before that, yeah.
So a night watchman caught him, and he shot old Eel O'Brien in the shoulder. And then he got doused in a bunch of chemicals. Ooh. And his gang pals, though, abandoned him. They took off in the getaway car, leaving him behind. So he wandered around and out into the woods or whatever, and he passed out at the foot of a mountain. And next thing you know is he wakes up in a monastery being cared for by a monk.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of those in the city.
Yeah, I don't know. He really had to do some wandering to get to a monastery.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this act of kindness convinced him to turn good and to, mend his former criminal ways.
Oh, nice.
What's that?
He made good.
So he also vowed to, take down criminals to get back at his criminal cohorts who screwed him over there and left him to die doused in chemicals with a shoulder wound. So that's Plastic Man. That's his hero's journey. Love it.
Sounds very familiar.
There's one other character in this book, Woozy Winks.
Yeah.
His little sidekick.
The classic comic book convention of having the same initials.
Woozy Winks. And his first appearance was Police Comics issue 13, so he came along a little bit later. But that initial run of Plastic Man lasted for 64 issues at Quality Comics. And then the DC series that we're doing here today lasted for 20 issues, but it spanned 11 years. So there was an 8-year gap between issues 10 and 11.
Okay.
And it was always published bi-monthly as well. So, yeah, it ended in 1977 with issue 20. So we got in just under the wire.
Yeah. I think only some of them are available on the website that we look at. Like, I think it started at 13 and then only had.
I think when DC said, wait a minute, they're writing comics about porn? we got to pull the plug on this. So they got it out of there. Of course, Plastic Man has come back and he's had other books and stuff over the years, right? And
yeah, there was like a 4-issue limited series in the 80s I was also looking at, and then I'm sure he's been back and, since then.
I believe his post-crisis situation was a little different. Like, there was no monastery involved, I don't think.
Yeah, I can see that going the way.
I think they got rid of that.
That was like a shadow thing, too, wasn't it? Didn't he go to like a monastery at some point? It was like found by monks.
Well, the Shadow went to study.
Yeah.
I think. But I don't know if he's fun.
That was like a big thing back then. Like, all those people would end up somewhere in Tibet and study.
Yeah, Iron Fist had a similar situation, I guess.
Yeah, Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to Tibet.
All right.
Maybe that'll be solve all my ills.
You won't leave your house, but I'm sure you'll go thousands of miles to Tibet.
So, Plastic Man, though, when I was a kid, there's a cartoon of Plastic Man on the TV. And
did he have his own cartoon?
I think so. Or was he like a part of some sort of cartoon? But I'm almost sure he had his own, but who knows? I'm old. I'm forgetful. But he was popular there in the late 70s, it seemed, in the early 80s. Seemed like a popular fellow. But I don't know.
Yeah, I remember seeing him when I was a kid and being like, that guy's goofy looking.
Yeah.
Being intrigued nonetheless.
Yeah. And of course, with Plastic Man, he can just stretch. He's like a rubber guy. He can just stretch and do whatever. And
it's like Mr. Fantastic. Except like DC apparently has 2 of these guys. There's also the elongated.
Yes. Elongated, man. I just always creeped out by Plastic Man's outfit.
Yeah. It's not great.
Like, you can wear anything you want. Why are you wearing that?
He's got a deep V going on there. No one needs to see that much of your chest.
And like nothing on his legs, just underpants and just legs and.
Yeah.
A little weird. He's got the goggles. He probably inspired Guardian, Heather Hudson of Alpha Fleet.
That's right. She was like, this guy's got it going on.
His goggles. The creators here, the writers, a fellow named John Albano. To the best of my knowledge, no relation to Captain Lou Albano of WWE fame. But John Albano was born in 1922, died in 2005 at the age of 82. He was a real fella. He fought in the Battle of the Bulge. This guy.
Holy hell.
He won the American Service Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Service Medal, the European African Middle Eastern Service Medal, and World War II Victory Medal. So this guy was a real fella.
So he has been around and seen a lot of porn, is what you're saying.
He had 116 writing credits at DC, including doing issues 17, 18, 19, and 20 of this here Plastic Man series. He co-created Jonah Hex.
Oh, okay. So he must have
Jonah Hex
briefly before on the show.
He wrote a bunch of adventure comics, and he also did a bunch of work he wrote some Archie, and he was writing for Archie Comics right up until about 80 years old. So,
wow.
How about that?
Say right up till Archie got AIDS.
He had a hell of a run. The artist here is Ramona Fradon, and we talked about her before. Do you remember when we talked about her?
I do not. You think I would, because there aren't that many women artists that we've talked about.
Yeah,
but
it's similar style to this too, if that helps.
Was it Archie?
Metamorpho.
Oh, Metamorpho.
Yeah.
Sense.
Metamorpho. I still love that theme song. I still sing it. All right. So yeah, don't need to talk about Ramona again, but yeah, she has a cartoony kind of style.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, Woozy Winks doesn't seem like he would be a real person. He looks like a cartoon character. Like Plastic Man kind of looked normal, but then he's just like, like if Fred and Barney were in real life combined into one person.
So, all right, that's anything else about Plastic Man we should know?
What
do I got?
Yeah, not a whole lot there.
Let's get to the porn. All right, so let's grab the cover for us, Jack.
All right, so it's a very white cover, just white background. They did not put any effort into that at all. But got a little DC logo up in the top left corner, 35 cents. And we got Plastic Man, and they're kind of balloony letters a little bit, kind of in an arching type of manner there. And then there's this big robot. He's playing Rock'em Sock'em Robots with this thing and knocking his block off. And the robot's kind of shooting some lasers out of his hand. And meanwhile, you see who's actually doing the fighting here is you got Woozy Winks. He says, "Ha, I didn't even need Plastic Man's help to take care of this creep." But it turns out, you can see that Plastic Man is acting as his coat, and Woozy Winks' punch is coming nowhere near the robot. And in fact, Plastic Man's, giant elongated hand is doing the punching.
Yeah. Knocking the robot's head clean off. Just boom.
So this cover's already a mislead in many ways because he knows that Plastic Man is his coat the whole time. And Woozy Winks is not even there when Plastic Man fights the robot. He's on an adventure.
And when Plastic Man punches the robot, it does nothing.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely a cover. It's a cover.
Yeah, I like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots aspect of it.
Got a big robot. Cool. Sorry, but we open it up, Jank, and I know you're excited.
It's got a nice 4-pack. He doesn't quite have a 6-pack, but he's got a 4-pack going on.
Oh, yeah. The robot. But when we open it up, I'm sure you're very excited for what we see at first.
We get the real treat of this whole issue right here on the first page. Because finally, it's been a number of weeks now since we've done one of these. Got a Hostess ad for the delicious Hostess cupcakes. It's been
Batman
too long.
and Robin, birds of a feather.
Yeah, this thing was great. This might be strong.
Was it great? Was it? All right, walk us through it.
Oh God! So I don't know if this is a real DC character or not.
I hope not.
Yeah, I would have some serious doubts if this exists. But it's a woman who is a pigeon, and Robin says stealing the Statue of Liberty.
She's not a pigeon, like she's a woman.
Yes,
she has like a winged outfit and stuff, But...
And very feathered legs, it looks like, and arms, or maybe that's just
I think that's just a costume. Yeah.
I don't know. Hard to tell. One of her parents might, in fact, be a pigeon. The other one might be you never know. But yeah, so Robin's like, pigeon woman, we'll clip your wings. And she says, the name's Pigeon Person, Robin.
Yeah.
You imitation bird, you'll never stop me. She wanted that alliteration to be known.
Pigeon Person.
But she is using, a bunch of pigeons to steal the Statue of Liberty.
How many pigeons would it take to lift up the Statue of Liberty.
And I know New York has a lot of pigeons, but boy, that's going to take a lot.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, that does not seem possible. But they're doing it easily. The Batman says, "We'll see, you foul-feathered fiend." Oh. So then she comes to land, and she's like, apparently she got away. Yeah, she got away here because it's just her and her pigeons. And the Statue of Liberty, which is just kind of sitting there in a small cemetery, it looks like. It's very small. Like, it's the same size as a bunch of other tiny statues. She says, "Tomorrow we steal America's last statue, and an America without statues is an America without a past." So that's her whole plan. Is she's going to cripple America by stealing its statues.
Yeah.
And then Batman's in the next scene. He says, "The Bat computer has plotted Pigeon Person's next plot." That's a lot of P's. Boy, that's hard to say. "She plans to pluck Mount Rushmore."
How? How are you going to lift up a mountain?
I don't know. There's no way a pigeon could do that. I don't care how many you got. You got 10 million pigeons. Not happening.
Lifting Mount Rushmore.
Let's see. So then, he says, "We got a counter plan, but we'll need your help." I guess he's talking to the police here. They're all kind of
the army.
Yeah, I was going to say they could be the army, but I don't know.
Yeah, because they got planes coming in here in the next panel. So yeah, they got fighter jets and stuff. So I guess it's the army.
Well, I'm sure those pigeons could just pick up the fighter jets and fly.
Strong pigeons.
So they're going to help out, and Pigeon Person is there the next day. There's Mount Rushmore, a sitting duck, just waiting to be taken. Ha ha! I like that she laughs at it, like every scene. But then she's like, of course she's going to be foiled by those cupcakes, because she says, "No, not delicious Hostess cupcakes, devil's food cake, wonderful cream filling. My birds will do anything for that." And Batman and Robin are in the little Batcopter there, dropping a net on her. As the pigeons are all running away they each got a cupcake in their little paws now, and they're like, we're gonna go
I
eat
don't know
our
if they're paws necessarily. Talons. Would probably be the
in their sweaty fingers.
Yes.
And so Batman's like, "Yeah, they'd even betray you." And then Robin says, "Pigeon Person, get ready to have your feathers plucked." That sounds like kinky stuff that Robin's going to be doing to her.
It also sounds pretty much the same thing you said in the first panel. Cut or clip your wings. Like, come on, let's.
Yeah, step up your bird puns here.
Yeah.
Jerk. It's almost as bad as people who try to come up with monkey puns for book titles and can only think of one.
Monkey flip, monkey flip, monkey flipping.
So then Batman says, "Pigeon Person, you'll be caged for a long time." And Robin says, "Thanks to our planning and your own birds." And then, so Pigeon Person, she's caught in a net that the pigeons are now holding up for some reason.
Yeah.
They've turned on it because they got a cupcake in them. They're like, "Oh, fuck it. This guy gave us a cupcake. He's our new master."
He doesn't make us carry mountains or giant statues.
Yeah. Things that are impossible. He just gives us treats. She just says, "I can't blame my pigeons for betraying me. Even a bird brain knows that a Hostess cupcake in the beak is worth any two statues in the street." That's a rough way to end it. But other than that, a dynamite end.
You get a big delight in every bite of Hostess cupcakes. Now, while you're going through that, I did a little research there, and Pigeon Person only appeared in Hostess cupcake ads.
Oh, thank God. Otherwise, we'd have to do that issue at some point. That's insane.
All right, so there you go. A new Hostess cupcake ad. Now we open it up and we get a splash page. And it says, we get his origin here at the top as well. And the page is kind of split in, when you're looking at the top of it, it looks like it's split in two. But the sky blue and then like the reddish, orangish, pinkish building background on the right. And
there's bricks near the bottom, but then they just give up at a certain point.
And on the top left corner, we get a circular insert of E.L. O'Brien as his old criminal self, smoking a cigarette, wearing a fedora, looking pretty cool. And then in the top right, we get the dopey Plastic Man look, the curly Q hair and the big glasses.
Yeah. It is strange. I wonder why he went with the goggles. Like, does stretching out make your vision go bad or something?
I think what I read is he wanted to make sure no one recognized him from his criminal days. So, but he could also he can make his face look whatever he wants. He's Plastic Man. He can do whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, it says
to fight Horace Grant, apparently.
Well, wait, you had the basketball reference. It's hard to imagine. Origin: a safecracker inside a factory attempts to flee and is struck down by a policeman's bullet. His cowardly Confederates leave him behind. The wounded felon falls into a vat of acid and is immediately transformed into Plastic Man.
Sounds like that was not acid, I'm guessing. Otherwise, he was just Puddle Man.
He now harbors an insatiable thirst for revenge against all lawbreakers, including men of genius who conduct their own private wars against conditions they dislike. Individuals like Professor Klean, with a K, the Mad Crusader, with a C. Sorry. They maybe put the K in the Crusader just to consistency.
Well, I think Klean isn't it his actual last name? Like he is Professor Klean.
Yeah. And here is how this optic adventure featuring optic adventure featuring Plastic Man and his partner Woozy, also a reformed crook, begins. I like that we have two reformed crooks.
Yeah, cleaning up their act.
That Woozy's a snappy dresser. Yeah,
that's right.
Like a lime green shirt with black polka dots and green pants.
Yep.
And like a little brown, like fedora, but it's almost like sideways on his head. It's a little weird.
It's like a little lime green band to match his shirt there. That's handy.
And of course, I don't know, Plastic Man's the old red costume with the black and yellow stripes around the middle.
Yeah.
And
that is kind of cool. Whatever shape he takes, he does have that same like stripe down the middle. Like he pretends to be other things in this issue, and then like he still has that stripe. Like, oh, he's a fire hydrant, but he also has a yellow stripe going across the thing.
Yeah, like 3 yellow bands and 4 black bands around him. So, but he's like, "Don't worry, Woozy, I've caught." Hey, what? They're chasing a guy. He's running down the street with a box that looks like dynamite, and Plastic Man goes to grab him around the neck, and the guy's head just comes clean off.
Whoa.
And they're like, "Hey, that wasn't a guy. That was a robot. It was a humanoid."
Yeah, so Professor Klean must have made him.
Yeah, this damn Professor Klean. So, but I like this book. There's always a little something going on in the background of these books. Like, like he throws Woozy throws the robot's head in the garbage, and we just see a guy in the background rummaging through the garbage, and he finds the head, and then he takes it over to the, trying to like sell it, or trying to give it to a doctor there.
That's right.
All these things going on in the background. And, the doctor says, "Hope this isn't one of my patients. Try Dr. Fred Butterfingers Lucas down the street." So Plastic Man and Woozy go to Riley's bar because that's where they know they're looking for a guy named Bent-Eye McGee.
Mm-hmm.
Because he usually helps out the professor or doing stuff, and they're like, "Oh, we got to find Bent-Eye, and he can lead us to the professor because he's a crook." So they go into the bar, and Plastic Man says, "I can't go in there because they all know me, all those crooks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be your coat, Woozy."
Apparently.
Yeah.
No one would know.
"I'm going to be your coat." And so he turns into it looks like a red raincoat with the stripes on around it, like you were saying. And they send Woozy into the bar, and right away these guys are getting on Woozy because he's sitting on the one guy's favorite bar stool, And he's like, "Hey, I want to punch you."
It's a weirdo coat, so the coat's already causing him problems.
And we kind of get a replay of the cover there, although it's not a robot getting punched. It's this guy. Plastic Man's arm comes out and punches him in the face, and Woozy's just sitting there. And then some other guys with knives come running at him now, and Plastic Man punches those guys too.
Yep.
And Woozy's just, dusting his hands off like no trouble at all. And the other people in the bar are like, "I didn't even see him move his hands. He's so fast."
Yeah.
How did he do it?
Yeah.
And,
You're apparently not paying very good attention.
Yeah, you know who else isn't paying attention? Woozy. because Plastic Man just dissolves off him, it's a weird panel there.
Yeah.
And he just forms. He doesn't tell Woozy he's leaving him, but he just leaves because he thinks he sees Ben-I leaving the bar there. So he's going to trail Ben-I without even telling Woozy.
Yep, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're thinking there.
So what happens to Woozy now, Jack?
Well, he's still sitting there drinking his beer, and all those three of those.
It also looks like he's enjoying some hard-boiled eggs. He's got a big bowl of eggs. It's weird.
It's some weird bar behavior.
Yeah.
He's apparently not getting laid tonight. Yeah, the three guys that were knocked out by Plastic Man, they all wake up and they're none too happy about what happened. So they're like, "Hey, you got lucky, pal. That's all." And he's like, "Oh, don't." He's like, "Here we go again. Try not to hit them too hard this time. Stand back as far as you can, bartender, so you don't get splashed with any of these blood from these chumps."
Yeah. But Plastic Man's gone, Woozy. How could you not notice? So now we see Plastic Man still following that Ben-I fella, and Plastic Man's blending into the background. He blends in with the fence there, and like you said, he's a fire hydrant, and then he's an awning, and but this Ben-I guy breaks into an electrical parts store, and Plastic Man is scouting him out, and Plastic Man turns himself into a little basket. And
yeah.
The guy's like, "Oh, I need a basket to carry all these electronic parts."
This is perfect.
So he puts all those...
plan is this guy will take him home, and then he'll know, oh, this is where Professor Klean is. He took me to his hideout. Good job.
So this crook, I don't want to tell him how to do his job either, but maybe don't break in through the front door and leave through the front door. Maybe break in through the back door, leave through the back door. But he goes right out the front door, and there were some cops there. But the cops, it's a lady cop and a fella cop, and they're making out in the cop car. I don't think they're taking their job seriously.
It's kind of like, what was that movie, To Kill a Cop, that we watched for...
Oh, man, I can't remember. Oh yeah, with Joe Don Baker, right?
Yeah.
So the cop, the male cop, jumps out of the car, and he's got lipstick all over his cheeks. And Ben-I's shooting back at him. So what does the male cop do?
Well, the lady cop says, "Take cover, Adam. He's armed." So he's like, "Okay, good advice, baby," and hides behind her ass.
He's ducking behind the lady cop.
Yep. Kind of shooting around her legs there. He's like, I got him.
Yeah, so he just killed Ben-I, I guess? Because he just plugged him. And
yep. Sure did.
Dead. and he's like, "Hey, baby, why don't you..." He calls her baby. He's like, "Hey, baby, why don't you check out the basket there?" And she goes to check on the basket, and here Plastic Man's legs just pop out, and he runs away.
Yep. He's like, "What happened? Where's the basket, baby?" She's like, "If I tell you, I'm afraid you'll get that net we keep in the patrol car for lunatics and throw it over my head." "Don't talk dumb. You're a trained police officer. I'd believe anything you told me." He's like, "Okay." The basket sprouted legs and ran away. And then just smash cut to her in the backseat of the police car with the net over her.
Do you think that was a real thing? They just had nets on on poles?
On TV shows. Yeah. That was always the thing, I feel like. Yeah. Anytime anyone's crazy, you got to catch them in a net. One of those butterfly nets.
So Plastic Man now is back to his normal self, and he's walking the streets there. And he almost gets hit by a truck, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
A little weird. And
yeah. I guess he goes under it, but he stretches under it, but they don't really show that. So much.
I don't know what the deal was there. So now he's going back to Riley's bar to pick up Woozy, and the Riley's bar window is smashed. There's an outline of Woozy's body in the window glass, and then Woozy's on the street, flat on his back. His clothes are ripped, his face is all bloodied, and he's like, "What happened to you there, you know?" And he's like, "That's a stupid question, Groan. After leaving me alone to tangle with 3 kill-crazy savages, where did you expect to find me, you putty-body ding-dong?"
That was my nickname in high school.
Yeah, putty-body ding-dong. So Plastic Man takes him to the emergency room, and this is The nurse says, I'm going to have to ask you a few questions before we treat you, Mr. Winks. And he says, groan, okay, but make it quick, will you, nurse? I think I'm dying. And then they just leave Woozy there. And so now Plastic Man, he says, I got to go where I used to hang out, them sleazy bars with the signs that say girls on them, you know? And
Yeah, that's you're in the right part of town.
And he goes into a bar. And again, he's just wearing his little outfit there. And he's like, Professor Klean, you know where he's at? And they're like, no, I don't know. But check out all these ladies there in the little pants and the fishnets. And man, this Plastic Man knows where to go. And he's asking around for Professor Klean. And
Finds one bartender that doesn't know where he is, but he knows a lot about him.
yeah, tell Professor Klean's story, his origin story.
Okay, so he says, yeah, he was I also know about he was always giving lectures to whoever would listen about the moral decay of our permissive society. But he was a real phony. That's right, baby. Old Professor Klean was a faker. Though he probably hated himself for it, he secretly dug those X-rated films and girly magazines.
That's right.
He was seen sneaking into those flesh film theaters plenty of times. I'm sure he said it was for research. Like, I got to learn about the enemy.
Scholarly research. Doing a paper. Yeah.
Yep. You got to know your enemy. Oops, my thing moved.
His thing moved.
All this talk about porn. All right.
Well, he walks into the bar, and he sees his own daughter's dancing as a go-go dancer.
Yep. He's not happy about that. He got the shock of his life because his only daughter, the kid he'd sent to the best and most exclusive private schools, was one of the performers. No, it can't be. The old guy went into a rage, began screaming for his daughter to come down from the performer's platform. He created such a disturbance that Big Mike, the owner, tried to throw him out. But Mike had grabbed the tiger by the tail because the professor snatched a bottle from the bar and put a crease in the owner's skull. And, so he kills that Big Mike guy, but it turns out, his daughter was engaged to Big Mike.
Yeah, so now she won't talk to him. He won't even talk to her father. But he killed Big Mike with a bottle over the head. Holy hell.
He sure did.
And then
Big Mike got an arm.
But he only got 6 years in jail for that. He murdering a guy with a bottle and you get 6 years.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're like, oh, he didn't intend to murder him. He just meant to hit him with a bottle. Who would have thought that would kill him? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like involuntary manslaughter. Like I didn't mean to.
So now with this knowledge, Plastic Man's just, walking down the street again, minding his own business. And he runs into his own girlfriend, Dolly.
Yeah.
This Dolly's a looker. And she's like, hey, Plastic Man, you better not be late for our date tonight there. And he's like, oh, don't you worry. Hey, why don't we just go right now? My case has kind of hit a dead end. And she's like, no, I want to go to the beauty parlor first and, get fixed up for you. And he's walking around like, wow, she must really dig me. This chick must really dig me. That's what he says.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I like that Woozy, the hospital apparently has a window right on the street. And Woozy's room is right behind, so we can see Woozy in the hospital. And he's still answering a bunch of questions from the nurse.
Yeah, these I thought could have been better.
They're still funny, though.
Yeah.
But then Plastic Man's walking down the street, and a bunch of people just start running towards him. And it looks like there's some naked ladies running there, too. Like this. Yeah.
Strip clubs are emptying out.
So he grabs a guy by the arm, and he's like, hey, buddy, what's going on there? And he says, we just got a call saying that all the porno joints had to be evacuated.
Yep. That's I think the word balloon that caught my eye initially. It was like, yep, this is the issue.
Porno joints. The caller said that a humanoid was coming to blow every sex bookshop, nude bar, and flesh theater off the map. I'm going to say phrasing there. You could have done a bit better. But he's like, great Scott, the mad crusader must have made that call. I've got to get over to that porno section in a hurry. And a number of times I've said that.
Yep. He knows right where it is, too.
So he goes right into the porno section of the city. And he's like, uh-oh, because there's a giant humanoid, this giant purple robot, like 3 stories high. It's a huge robot.
Shooting lasers out of its eyes. Or actually, no, just bullets out of its eyes, possibly.
Yeah, just bullets.
Bullets are shooting out of its eyes, but it kind of looks like lasers.
And then we see a car driving through his legs there, and Harold, you passed that red light. And he's, shut up, Martha. They're just people fighting. And there are a lot of ads in this Plastic Man book, I'll say that.
Yeah. Boy, there were a lot.
So Plastic Man tries to punch the big purple rabbit, and it does nothing. He tries to punch him in the belly, does nothing. And he's like, oh, I need another plan here. And the purple robot's hand pops off, and then he starts shooting fire out of it.
Yeah.
And then his other hand pops off, and he starts shooting rockets.
It's pretty badass. I want one of these robots.
How does Plastic Man defeat this robot, Jank?
Well, he uses his arm to stretch himself up to grab onto the top of a rooftop, and then he, springs himself up there, and he turns himself into a giant cannonball. He just turns himself into a ball, basically, and drops. Although this building should have been higher, I feel like.
Yeah.
To make a difference. It's maybe like a 3-story building.
Because we already established, the robot was as tall as a 3-story building earlier, and now it seems like the robot is smaller, way smaller.
Yeah, like maybe there's only 2 stories, and he's falling from a 3-story height. That's not going to do much.
Yeah, because when we first see the robot, he's taller than the building. He's way big.
Yeah. Could be a different building still.
But it's the only 3 floors. It's a little weird. So he just drops on him like this reminds me that, now I know you haven't seen all the Seinfeld yet. Jank was trying to catch up on Seinfeld a few years ago.
That's true.
And I don't know if did you see the one where Kramer's got a Kramerico Corporation, and he's got an intern, and he's got a big ball of oil, and they fill it up.
No.
They drop it out of a window real high in a building, and it lands on a guy. And that's what this reminded me of. Yeah. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Someday I'll see that, I'm sure.
So it smashes the robot, and Plastic Man's like a little dazed there. He's trying to figure out what happens. And then the cops come along and say, hey, we caught Professor Klean.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
Yep. He wanted to be there and see his handiwork.
Yeah. So they caught him lingering around in a doorway at one of the porno joints. Yeah. So.
That's really all he wanted. He wanted to drive the people away so he can get in there and, have at himself.
He says, but have heed, you 2 guardians of filth. I'll not be incarcerated long. I don't know. You're a former murderer. So you think this was...
This is at least your second strike.
Thus, on the day I'm released, I shall renew my war on obscenity, and no rubber-limbed freak or lollipop-sucking detective will stop me in my next crusade. Yeah, because the detective that is sucking on a lollipop. And you get that reference, right, Jank?
Yeah, it's Kojak, right?
Yeah, that's right. It's Kojak, yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently he gave the professor a lollipop as well. So that's nice of him. And,
it's like a doctor.
Yeah.
You be a boy, you'll get a lollipop. He was bad, but he still gets one.
And then this is weird, though, because we get a close-up of, I guess it's the Kojak cop licking his lollipop. And then that reminds Plastic Man that he has a date with Dolly.
I think we all know why.
Yeah, so Plastic Man goes running off there, and we still see Woozy in the window of the hospital, and he's still trying to answer questions, and he's not hasn't got any treatment. But when he shows up to meet Dolly, Dolly's got another fellow with her.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Because he was late. He was 7 minutes late, so she decided
to move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
This guy was here. I'm going to go to dinner with him.
I waited 7 minutes.
And he's like, well, at least you were thoughtful enough to wait here and tell me our date was off. We waited for you because we didn't have any transportation. They want him to make himself into a taxi and drive them on their date. She's like, well, Charlie is a big tipper.
Yeah. So, he turns himself into a car. They're sitting inside him. And he says, I never could resist big tippers. And that's the end.
They're going to make sweet, sweet love on his body.
In the back seat of Plastic Man. Wow, that book was not at all what I expected going in. I'll say that much.
No. I would imagine not, yeah.
Porno joints. Yeah, smut, obscenities. Wow, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, I thought it was fun, though,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
Woozy.
I would say it's not ambush bug, but it's still fun.
Yeah, Ambush Bug was pretty good. Kind of. What was the name of that doll he had?
Oh, Cheeks, the toy wonder.
Cheeks, the toy wonder. That's right.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, but this book was fun. Ramona Fradon, her art's fine, and although I'm still not sure about that truck panel. I don't know what was going on there, but
Yeah, that was strange.
uh, and he looked a little weird coming off of Woozy when he was leaving the bar there when he was the coat
Yeah,
transforming.
like turned into an amoeba type thing.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
a jellyfish or something. It was strange.
he was all pink, so it's like he took his clothes off for that.
But the writing was pretty good. The jokes weren't hilariously funny, but they're pretty good.
Yeah,
They were humorous.
like the stuff with the cop and the lady cop. That was all good. Cut to
Yes,
them, her in the back seat with the net on her.
that is crazy. Him
It's a
hiding
comedy.
behind her. That was
Yep.
nuts. So yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Oh, Plastic Man.
Nothing to take too serious here, but it was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go pretty high on this because at no point did I ever think I'd read a comic book about pornography. And,
Yeah, clearly this must have been just after Hardcore came out. I feel like it's very much the George C. Scott story.
and also, that is true. That's a very obscure movie reference, folks. Yeah, I kind of lost the George C. Scott reference. Made me lose my train of thought because then right away I think of his wife, and his wife was a killer on Columbo, and then I go down the Columbo rabbit hole, and yeah, because
Yep.
uh, but yeah, I never thought of about reading a porno joint and stuff, and the fact that the hero is defending the pornography is what
Yep.
really gets a lot of extra points
Yeah.
in this story. So I'm going to go 8 out of 10 because I have fun reading this. So yeah.
Dang. All right. Yeah, I was probably going to go about 7.5. So, yeah, we're in the same
There
ballpark.
you go, 7.5.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. You throw in the word porno enough, I'm in.
Yes. So there you go, Plastic Man, issue 18. And hey, next week here on the show, Jank, I don't know if you noticed, this book had a lot of ads, as we mentioned. Yeah. And aside from the hostess ad and the fishing rod ad, there's also some ads for obscure comic books. One of them was Shade the Changing Man.
That's right, yeah.
I had never heard of that, so I had no idea what that was. So I was going to pick that, but it was created by Steve Ditko. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute. There is a Ditko book I always wanted to read, and I never have.
Oh, okay.
So next week here on the show, we're going to be doing Mr. A, issue 2 from 1976.
What is
Mr.
this?
A. It's kind of he based this here on like objectivism and Ayn Rand's theory of objectivism, and like there's a clear right and wrong, and so we'll get into all the philosophy behind it. But Ditko was a man of principle. This Ditko, so he created this book here, and I always wanted to read it. I've heard things about it, but I never have. So you know what? We're doing it next week right here on the show.
Hey, I have heard nothing about this, so this will be an adventure.
Yeah. So next week, Mr. A, issue 2. So yeah, because there's only like he did Mr. A in different other like books in the late '60s, like just in stories and anthologies and stuff. And then in I think 75ish maybe there was a issue 1 that had some new material, and then a little bit later issue 2 came along, and then by 77 Ditko was back at DC doing Shade the Changing Man and stuff. So. Do you know a lot about Steve Ditko? We'll get into it, because I don't think we've ever talked about him here on the show, actually, because he did all his stuff in the 60s, most of his big stuff. So,
yeah, that's true.
But so we'll get into his history, because he's a fascinating character, and there's a documentary about him and everything, because he's a very reclusive fella.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he kind of, yeah.
Like my twin, Steve Ditko. So next week it'll be Mr. A and Steve Ditko right here on Flea Market Fantasy. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe, because no one's watching the videos anymore. I don't know what's going on.
I'm sure they're all going to tune in for Mr. A.
Mr. A is going to get big numbers. Don't you worry. So, we appreciate the support, what there is of it. So thank you. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.